Welcome back to the Boba Joe Show.
Welcome, everybody. As I just awkwardly plug in my laptop charger here. I hope everybody's keeping well. It's karate action He-Man.
Yes, that's karate He-Man.
Nice. I like you got the Player 2 version.
It was on sale for half price. I didn't want to get any repaints of the whole thing, but it was like half price in the store, not online. I was like, yeah, I'm getting that.
It's tempting. Tempting to get the Player 2s, but I got to keep space on the shelf.
Got to keep focus.
I wouldn't mind an alternate color blanket. All the other characters know, but he's a generic karate man. If you want to put another head on it, so. Yeah.
Got to stay strong. We'll allow ourselves maybe one or two Player 2 or variant colors, because I definitely can't talk. I have a red Chun-Li already and an evil Ryu knocking about, so
yeah,
I judge nobody.
It will be difficult though because Jada announced the Alpha 3 license, so they'll be competing directly with Storm.
That'll be interesting.
If only they had a playset.
If only they did have a playset.
Yes.
If only they had a playset back in the 90s when such things were still popular and affordable.
And big.
So yeah, that's the topic today. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Boba Joe Show. We have John and we have Boba.
We got Jesse. It's kind of Jesse for you. It's dealer's choice tonight because you have put together a nice little package of pictures for us of some 90s play sets, which I believed you had or at least played with as a youngster. So I am looking forward to chatting about that. I'm just looking forward to generally just chatting about the toys of the time, as we've been doing kind of recently here on the show. Me and Johnny have been going through some catalogs and some canners, some Playmates, and just some general 90s dino stuff. So we're continuing on with that trend and keeping that train rolling with some 90s.
Whatever we can get our grubby hands on, we'll get into it.
Yeah. And I guess just to start, for clarification, we're not going to cover every playset from the 90s.
No.
Feel free to
put cool stuff Jesse's had or knows about. It's not like the tier ranking of like every fucking playset in the world. This is just like stuff that's like meaningful to us from this era.
Yeah. But hey, if we miss a playset, put it in the comments and hit like and subscribe.
Why didn't you talk about Masters of the Universe?
See, Johnny won't sell himself out, but I'll sell him out. And I guess we're just jumping right in. And I don't have all the information in front of me. I just have to recall from very general memory. But right here's the Blackbird from Toy Biz, right?
Yeah, Toy Biz had all those early 90s X-Men Marvel stuff.
I'm guessing 82. Yeah, because that's when my X-Men were, I think, just before Jurassic Park. So I'm guessing 82 on this. 92. And I loved this playset because I was a kid who was always on the move. So like different corners of my bedroom, my bed, my closet, outside, garage. I liked having things that I could pick up and move, and the Blackbird was perfect. Everything snapped together to make a vehicle. You put your figures in it, and then you could disassemble it and just have a mobile command center. And with all the monitors and the defensible turret and everything, that central piece is what I used the most. Because it could be anything, really. It could be any base for any... I mean, the Turtles couldn't fit in that, but almost everything else, Kenner or Toy Biz or Hasbro, could use that playset.
Assuming it's spring-loaded missiles in that turret.
Oh yes. Yeah. They were real chunky, so... We're not talking like G.I. Joe springs. They're like... They'd go maybe a foot. I don't know. Maybe that was just mine. I know Will has this, or maybe he had a new mint in box one that he sold, but he might remember how far that spring goes. But even
You
on
have the actual Toy Biz X-Men figures to go with this, or
yeah, I had. I'm trying to recall. I had, and I don't know my X-Men. I mean, I know the names of the characters, but I don't know like the series runs that they're from. But like, I had the Cyclops in the blue with the white stripe, and then Logan.
X-Factor Cyclops.
Yeah, and Logan in the street clothes with the brown jacket. I didn't know X-Men. I was just watching the cartoons, so it was one of those. You leave it up to your parents to grab something for Christmas. And so they're just like, oh, I think this is an X-Man.
Yeah, Toy Biz did a great job with these play sets, and also the waves they did of the figures like made sense and gave you characters people actually wanted. Not like a lot of the modern ones now, they just throw out such random stuff, whereas like they did stuff that actually made sense and was coherent and went together.
I would say the weakest part of the playset was definitely that flying wing that Gambit is sitting on.
Yeah.
Like the vehicle, okay, it's a vehicle, the front half that Wolverine is in, but that flying wing, I just didn't really use it. I would just set it off to the side because I had other toys I could play with.
That's like his couch for watching big screen TV.
Yeah, it's a flying chair essentially. It could really use something like attached to the front of it to make it more menacing or, you know, intimidating looking. It's like, oh, it's my chair with wings. Huzzah!
But it was pretty neat, and the missile rack did pop out even in plane mode because it wasn't connected to that back piece, so the plane itself could still have missile firing features in that mode.
I remember seeing this box in the toy shop, in the local Toy Master, as it was called, and it looked massive. I know it's obviously it's like not the scale or not like what we see in the show, because it's only supposed to be like a kid's toy, but it's still a pretty significant size, both like in its vehicle mode and then when you actually, you know, disassemble it into all its various compartments. I'd imagine this was a popular spot for your Joes to inhabit and to use as well as a kiddo.
Yeah, because I mean, Toy Biz, we're talking on average 5-ish inch figures. So of the like Kenner Toy Biz size, it was on that higher end, and you can see in the image like 3 figures could fit in all those parts. So it was a decent size ship. Even as an adult, I think it's fairly sizable as a vehicle.
It's a lot bigger than that one they put out in the last couple of years.
That's nice though. Even that kind of the middle section with the computer screens and stuff like that would just be a nice little background for an X-Men diorama or whatever. It is just for the time, and considering it is supposed to be for a kid's toy line, I think they did a pretty bang up job with how they designed this.
Yeah, that middle part was just so flexible for any play scenario, any characters, because I mixed and matched my toys all the time. So the Joes were using it, the Terminator was using it, like it was just flexible. It could be for any scenario. And it's small, so like literally even if I had like the Batman Batcave playset, I could still put that in there as like a component of another playset.
Yes. Yeah, they matched well. You know, it matches up well with other lines. I was gonna ask, like, were you the type of kid who was able to like hang on to your like spring-loaded projectiles, or would they have been missing pretty quickly after you opened the toy? Or
everything pretty much stayed in the room. I was good about bringing stuff back to the bedroom. And then my dad built me a big wooden toy chest, like a proper rounded chest, like you'd find in Ocarina of Time. So
yeah.
I kind of sad I didn't get to keep the chest before I was old enough to play Ocarina, because I guarantee you I would be making that noise every time I'd open it.
Going,
but all this in geology, there's a general concept of things shifting downward the smaller they are. And it works the same way in a toy box where you put your toys in and all the missiles and loose parts make their way to the bottom, but the toy chest held everything. I would just have to take stuff out and then like sort through all the stuff at the bottom to find the pieces I need.
It's like my tubs around here with accessories and all the things that have sunk into the bottom.
It says here in the small print that most X-Men and X-Force figures will fit into the Blackbird jet. Can't guarantee everybody. Kind of lads like, those guys, yeah. Anybody who's kind of overweight may not fit in the Blackbird, unfortunately.
Well, I know
that's Juggernaut E Honda, you're right out.
Yeah,
not going in there.
Blob ain't getting in there, he ain't doing nothing.
It does say as seen on TV, but I do not remember any of the Toy Biz commercials. I did live in a small mountain town where in that time we're dependent on licensing and what your local television station can have. And I didn't at the very early age, like I didn't have a lot of television that I could rely on for like information. A lot of this stuff I discovered once a month when my dad would get his paycheck and we'd all drive to the city, which would be about hour and a half-ish over the mountains. And I'd see stuff at like the Toys R Us for the first time. The TV station progressively got more content as I got older, like once I got to like 9, 10, 8 years old, but I was largely dependent on what I saw in store. Which is also why I had such a wide variety of stuff. I didn't focus on individual lines because it was like you walk in, you see a box art, and it's like, that's super cool. That's what I want. I don't care if I don't have anything else of that toy line. That just looks awesome.
We didn't have Toys R Us in New Zealand, but we did have plenty of the commercials, like the X-Men animated series, the Spider-Man animated series. The lines ran for years, and there was like, more than 100 figures in each of those things.
One of my big memories from the Toy Biz X-Men is that the figures seemed pretty expensive for a while, and then as soon as the Spider-Man animated series became popular and they started releasing the Spider-Man toys, all the Toy Biz X-Men stuff just went to clearance. Like I actually remember it as kind of one of my earliest memories of toys, that like noticing a real price drop in the toy line I was interested in, and I was able to persuade my parents to just go a little bit deeper in on the line for me when they were getting me toys because of these low prices. But yeah, they were really cool toys. I never got to sniff at a Blackbird though, other than seeing it in the shop. I unfortunately didn't own one. I did get to play with one a little bit that a friend had. But no, it's an awesome looking set. It really is. It's a really nice looking play set.
And how well does that box art, the bright red, blue, and then that iconic yellow X-Men logo, just it stands out so clearly on the shelf.
It just looks like a premium line toy, even though it is just essentially like I said, a kid's toy.
And but it's something that's probably angry in the artwork.
Yeah, he looks really annoyed.
It's not the outsourced character model like the Street Fighter ones we'll see later on.
I'm fascinated by Gambit. I guess I didn't remember that there's a flip feature on that chair.
Oh, the Jackson. Interesting.
He doesn't look pleased because he's currently on the ground.
That's when he wants to get more chips in front of the big screen and he can't be able to get them up. So he's like, press the button to launch me over to get more chips. So what else we got here?
This was my second big play set, because the other one, it was a play set, but it was a vehicle. This was my second play set as a kid, and that on my right, that's the Batcave that I had. Now it's in the possession of a Mr. Grindhead. It wasn't my childhood one. I didn't get to keep any of my childhood stuff. But this, I did love this Wayne Manor playset. I guess technically, according to that, it's called the Batman Command Center. But you fold it out into like 6 pieces that are linked together, 3 and 3 on each side. And it was great. I used it for everybody, not just Batman. And you got like so I guess on one side you have the front of the Wayne Manor, and then the rocky middle entering the Batcave, and then the Batcave itself with a spin feature where there's a little knob above Batman that you can lift up and twist it. And it's kind of like that old Mego Star Trek playset where if you're on the transporter, you twist it and suddenly they're gone. You'd put in your Bruce Wayne and lift it and twist it, and your Batman would flip on from the other side. And then the monitors, they made like 6 or 7 versions of this playset. They never let it go. But early on,
up to like 2000 and something, and the Retro Blasting one did a one where they showed like every version up to
it was so many. I had the one, I think I had the first version, but it could be the second, so someone could correct me on that. Mine, the toys I was getting at that time for Batman were based on Batman Returns. So I had like the Penguin, I had the Penguin Commandos, I had the stuff like that. But the monitors had screenshots from that film. But the one that I had as a collector that I sent to Jim has screenshots, I think, of the cartoon, the animated series. And I think that was the second version. It was literally the same. No changes to the color or anything. It was just the stickers they applied to the screens. And then after that second version, they started playing with the colors of the Wayne Manor. But I used it for everybody. It was everyone's command center.
Were you swapping out like Bruce Wayne and Batman for just like any random dudes, like doing that swap gimmick, pretending it's a transporter or whatever?
Yeah, my Joes were using it all the time. The Turtles used it, I think. Who was it? One of the Turtles won the lottery and got themselves a mansion.
I like that they took
it also kind of castle-y as well, almost, isn't it? Like there's a bit of a fortress style appearance to it, or a tower appearance.
Yeah, I like that they took the basic style of design of Castle Grayskull, where you got the 2 halves. It's tall and thin. It's got the same type of hinges in the middle there, but then they've added the 3rd section that concertina's out, and it's like they've improved on the design. If Castle Grayskull had an extra section like that, that would be really cool to have another whole bit and rotate it around, give you more display options and more play features.
And in that lower picture, what you're looking at is the interior of the mansion. On both of those are the interior of the mansion, and then that 3rd bluish piece is like just an industrial zone. So it's meant to be like, this is where you go fight the Penguin. You fight your baddies. But it was just generic enough that the whole thing could be like a fight in a museum or a fight in a governor's mansion. It was plain enough on that side that you could use it for anything. Whereas you flip it around, you have the full Bat command center or just a command center.
You have a
and oftentimes they're missing under the chair, they're missing that slide out weapons rack, which is 2 layers. The one that I had still had it, so it was a complete set. Now imagine that, and you make it small. This was Kenner. Kenner had their own version of Microverse, or I guess it was called Microverse. And they had the properties for Batman, which was Batman the Animated Series, and what's the one with the Joker, the live action, Jim Carrey?
Batman Forever.
Forever, that's it. So they could do play sets for Batman Forever and for the animated series. They also had Superman the animated series, Jurassic Park. There were some sports ones. I'm sure there was a few others I'm forgetting. But this was the the Gotham City playset. This was not, I guess technically it's Wayne Manor, but only in that front piece, that red piece.
Like the bank.
Yeah, because you have Gotham Jail and you have the bank, and then what happens is it's confusing. That bat signal, you push it down when you close the playset up, and when you open the playset, the bat signal pops up. And then you turn the playset around, and you have the interior of those buildings.
A nice little feature with the bat signal. It's translucent? Is that right? Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
And I wish I had it in front of me, because there's something where you put Bruce Wayne in that yellow piece, and there's a part that twists. Oh no, I remember. You put Batman in that kiln. It looks like a kiln, just that black door. You keep him in there, and then you put your Bruce Wayne at the top. It looks like he's falling straight down, but he's actually falling towards the front, near the front door of Wayne Manor. And then you open that bottom door, and that's where Batman would be hanging out.
Interesting.
But you got Batman, you got the classic Joker from the cartoon. You got 2 bags of money, just those silly big white bags with the cash logo. And then bat wings. And this was it. You could take the bars off of the jail, so Joker could be in there, and then you could pop them off. For how small it was, like, it was really small, but there was a lot of play value to it.
Yeah, I was just thinking they're squeezing a lot of scenarios in there with like the bank vault, and even that. What is that like? Is that the world, or like a map on some type of monitor that they have there as well?
That's supposed to be a bank. Or no, sorry. See, this is where it gets confusing, because part of the bank is touching the jail, because that's a bank vault. So I don't know what they were doing when they designed it. It's just a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
you just have to use your imagination.
That could even be like a room in Wayne Manor where Bruce has like some screen on or something, or it could just be in the bank.
I like to think that Bruce is like Scrooge McDuck, where he has this giant vault he opens up and then just goes and swims in the cash.
This is just the townhouse location for Wayne Manor. You know, he has a second property. He has multiple properties, but he does have a property in Gotham City in the middle of town that he likes to frequent from time to time, right between the jail and the bank.
But I give him props for those miniatures, because like they are spot on to the animated series.
Very nice. Very nice.
Just the tiny details. You can see the bat symbol on his chest. You can see the Joker's tie.
Yeah, it's like instantly recognizable. Like, you know exactly who they're supposed to be. No, it's really nice detail for a micro playset. And of course, for those who don't know, Jesse definitely leans towards the micro scale stuff. So won't be the last micro scale playset we'll see on today's show for sure.
Oh, Jesse will get the last laugh, because he can fit more things on his shelves and have them display nicely with the small size playsets.
So Playmates had the license for Star Trek, and they had the Inner Space line. And there were 2 waves, and the first was Inner Space. They called it something else later. There were, in this set, or I guess in this line, there were 4 playsets, and then the rest were small ships in little bubble card backs. But this is a fun one. This is the Enterprise D. This was all Star Trek Next Generation. Not all the vehicles were Next Generation, but the playsets were based around it. And this came with, I think, I can't read that from here, but I think it came with Picard, Riker, and I think it was Worf.
Looks like Worf, yeah.
I think. Like Worf. And then it came with a mini shuttle. There was an actual shuttle that came with the toys. I actually have everything right over there, but I don't want to grab it. But yeah, the playset just opens from the top. So it's nice because it can sit on a shelf and just look like a model of the Enterprise D. But then you can open it up and it has in the middle, the bridge, and then the other side you have 10 forward, and then one half of the top is Picard's ready room, and then the other half I think was the jail. I don't know. Did they call it a jail on the show?
Brig.
The brig. That's right. It's a ship. Yeah, that makes sense. And what's nice is the monitor is just paper, like little paper cards. You just pull them up, flip it around, and it's a different scene. And you got like 3 of them.
Cool. They're actually doing a lot here as well, because, you know, the larger scale Star Trek sets, they've often done bridge play sets, but here we're getting a few different locations kind of chucked in, all in that kind of saucer section of the ship. It's a very nice, you know, they definitely have an advantage, micro play sets, when it comes to this type of thing. You can do a lot with them if you're clever with how you kind of design it and position certain areas and features of it. Like, that's cool that like Picard's ready room is actually part of that set. Like, that has to be the only Picard's ready room in toy history, probably. Like, I don't think that's ever been done in any line.
And these are bigger than typical micro, like the Kenner stuff we just saw in the micro machines. These figures are closer to what I call action fleet scale, so they're about an inch or so in height. So they're a little bigger than what your normal. They do move. There's a hinge on the figures, so the arms can move and the legs can move. But they're still small. I mean, okay, talk amongst yourselves for a second. I'll go grab one.
Box art.
The cards.
I like the way they did that, translucent, like, you know, instead of like actually just drawing that half of it folded down, they actually made it translucent so you can see.
I didn't notice that. Yeah, so that looks cool. I know it's Picard's like ready room or whatever, but when I look at it, I'm like, it just makes me think of like the VHS rental stores in the 80s. That's like the section that kids can't go into.
Back room.
So I have here the shuttlecraft. Just gonna pull it out here.
Nice.
So you got your next generation shuttlecraft. Opens up. This is the vehicles all fit on these little card backs. But you got little shuttle here. You can pull out the cargo, and it should give you fold down seats. Playmates did a wonderful job on these.
I really did.
It's fairly sizable, so it's definitely not micro scale, but it's like right on the cusp of it. Then you get Geordi, Geordi. I never know how to say it right. But now I suddenly have the Reading Rainbow theme song in my head.
You got 2 figures with each little vehicle. Is that how it works? With
yep. So this one had Geordi and Diana.
Nice.
Very tiny. There
really
is
nice,
detail on the
really
face.
Nice detail.
It's not.
They do have nice detail. I can even see their little communicator badges, their comm badges. That's pretty cool. Nice bit of detail there.
And then I won't pull the whole thing out, but this is the Enterprise.
Yeah, look at that.
And it, oh no, that was Data, not Worf.
Ah. So that's meant in the box there, I see.
No, I've pulled it out. I put the stickers on. I played with it. I do have images I didn't share, but I have like images of Admiral Akbar from the Action Fleet in the command chair just shouting at people like it's a trap. I'm an adult. And
that must have been great. Did you mix a lot of your micro scale stuff as a kid? Yeah, I'd imagine that was good fun.
I didn't have a lot of what you're seeing. I didn't have as a kid, or I interacted with rarely. Some of these I got as a collector, so it's doesn't mean I don't still have fun just taking pictures and doing toy photography with them. But you did have to collect a number of ships and a number of playsets to get the whole crew. But you do get Worf, you do get Crusher, you do get Q, And then there's the Borg and the Klingons and the Romulans and the Ferengi.
Any idea
What's
what
the
the
idea
flying
of
brains
the
are? Are they like comets or something on the box?
Yeah, it's about that. It's like, what's the story? Because at first I thought they were comets, but they do kind of look brainy. They look organic almost.
I don't know. They
Just a
don't
nice bit
mention
of
it on the
random
box at
art,
all.
maybe.
Yeah,
Something.
artistic license.
But you can
'Cause it
see
looks
here's
like they're
a few
traveling
examples of
through a wormhole.
some of the play sets are small, but they're meant to be like there's a communicator, or no, the
Yeah, I've
tricorder,
seen those.
the phaser, and a couple of the ships. I think there were 12 ships in total, and then 4 of the play sets.
Yeah, that wee Klingon bird of prey looks nice.
I reckon the Borg ship, that had to be like the most. Well, this has got to be a playset because it's already a cube. It's like
No,
perfect.
the Borg cube is just one of these.
Oh,
Small
it's just one of
ship,
the
2
miniatures.
figures.
Yeah.
I will
I just
say
thought for folding out things, a cube, that's like the perfect thing for.
Yeah. The most sought after ships of that line were the Stargazer, which I think was Riker's first ship, but the most expensive and hardest to find is the Defiant. People really love the Defiant.
Cool little sets, I have to say. This set now that we're looking at, though, this is something I would like. I would covet today, even. Like, it's a lovely looking set. I always wanted this as a kid.
So let's step back for a second. So let's go back to 93. Because one playset we're not going to, I don't have a picture of, is the Compound from the original Jurassic Park run. I didn't have that because that for me was the year of G.I. Joe. Did any of you have the Compound?
I didn't own one. I had friends who had it. I always wanted it. It was a cool playset, and I'll do a cheap plug for the show. We have done a Kenner Jurassic Toys episode, so if you want to see our thoughts or listen to our thoughts on the Jurassic Toys, definitely check that out. But yeah, always thought it was a really cool playset. Loved the fact that you could open it out. There was, like, once again, a monitor room, which seems to be like in every one of these playsets. Lots of TVs. What I always kind of liked the most about it, though, was that it came with the gates, Jurassic Park gates. Even though they're totally undersized and don't look like anything to do in the film, I just liked at the time it was the only way you could get that. So I always thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that first wave, I only got Dr. Grant and Sattler because it was too much direct competition because all my Joes were 93. So they were just sort of tossed in there. But when this came out, and I'm blanking, 95, 96?
97, I think.
97, okay. I don't think there was anything directly competing with the Lost World, because I did have this compound, or this trailer playset, and I had 1 or 2 vehicles and a couple of figures and dinosaurs. So this, for me, was the year I got the majority of my Jurassic Park toys. But this playset, just like with the Blackbird, I like the mobility of it. You can separate. There was this rubber piece that connected the 2 halves, and you could just pull it out and separate them. But I used that. That was a medical station. I think it was a medical station in the film, but like that's how I used it, was as a medical station for the Joes and for other figures. And then the command vehicle was just a vehicle. I could shove all my figures in there and take them somewhere.
And storage there, mobile storage.
Mm-hmm.
I just always thought it looked fantastic. And it's just, I don't know, there's something about The Lost World. Probably my favorite thing about the Lost World film is some of those cool vehicles that they have in it, like both that the scientists kind of arrive in, and also that those kind of hunter mercenary guys are driving around. And there's just really nice vehicle designs in the movie. But I always wanted this playset when I saw it as a kid. I just thought it was class. I even liked it's very military. Like, if that Lost World sticker wasn't on it, you could get away with it being like anything really kind of military related. Did it come with those fences that are around it in the picture?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was neat. It was I'm trying to think of my play patterns. I do think that my figures went on a lot of expeditions. I was watching a lot of old film, television, where people like the actual Lost World, other things like that, where people were always going to mysterious islands, mysterious continents, center of the earth, that type of stuff. So I treat it the same way, where all my different toys were going on adventures, and this was the go-to vehicle for it because it was a defensive compound.
Yeah, it's so versatile, and it's got that crane kind of capture feature, which obviously, like, that's kind of the toy feature coming in, because that's everything else is kind of as it was in the film, more or less. You've got this kind of big, like, long RV type vehicle with a medical center and stuff in the back. Like, it's not too different to what you see on screen. But then you come in with this kind of creative toy licensing of, oh, we also have a big, like, crane that you can, like, control and pick up dinosaurs and I don't know, experiment on or capture or whatever.
I will
cool,
say the electric part of it, the sound part of it, didn't last long. We didn't get batteries often, and I think as a kid I really wasn't okay with loud sounds from my toys. I preferred to just play with them and not have like all those features going off.
Yeah,
like
they get annoying, all sorts of stupid whooping and booping and that.
yeah, like the 90s were great for missiles. I love the spring fired stuff, but the electronic sounds just never really caught on with me. And I also figured out pretty young, if something had an electric component, it was going to be more expensive, so I probably wasn't going to get it.
I got some sounds for you.
Pretty insane. Got some Hawthorne.
But yeah, that gets annoying after a minute.
Is that the bootleg Indominus Rex?
Yep, $20.
That thing is sweet.
Both the $50 for the official one.
I'd rather have the bootleg.
This,
and it's got crazy
Tanner
artwork.
Yeah, the artwork is great.
Beautiful, beautiful. And because with the Jurassic Park toys, they used to do those trading cards that would come packaged with the figures, and they'd have a similar painting portrait style of artwork where it's like it's not quite from the film or anything that exists. It's just the toy's own little kind of world. Like, I love the way everybody looks here. Like,
the
you
only
can tell that
downside,
like Jeff Goldblum looks like Jeff Goldblum. Everybody else could be anybody nearly,
Yeah.
Yeah. The only downside was the figure it came with was the little girl from the film. You get this cool action playset. I don't need a kid.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I was a proponent of not having kids in films, unless it was the Goonies. But it was sizable
more like
too.
that is a big set. That is a big play set, especially when you count the. See, with the fences, do you have to connect the fences to the vehicle, or can you like make your own fence enclosure, just connect them together or whatever?
No, they could all separate.
Cool.
So you could create a pen if you wanted to. I think I made a pen a few times for some dinosaurs.
Put some Pokemon in there.
And then, of course, because it was the 90s, you can see on the crane it does have a missile launcher.
Yeah,
we're here for science. Oh yeah, he's about to blast that dinosaur right in the face.
I think when we were looking at the 93 kind of Jurassic one, like, it described the missile launcher on the Explorer Jeep as like a missile tranquilizer or something like that. Something it will just put the dinosaur to sleep for a short period of time, even though it looks like a large warhead.
Yeah, I mean, if you hit something hard enough with a concussive blast, it's going to put it to sleep for a while.
Did you ever see this playset in the wild, Johnny, or in the flesh?
No, I didn't see much of the Jurassic stuff in this. Beyond the first movie one, I didn't see a whole lot in New Zealand. Like, I don't know what stuff made it there. Occasionally, I'd see some of the repaint dinosaurs for the second and third film, but I very rarely saw any of the playset stuff, even in the stores. But like, New Zealand doesn't really have dedicated toy stores. Well, they have Toy World, which is like a smaller store, like almost like a boutique, but it's around the country. Most of the bigger stores would be like Farmers, or we didn't have Kmart back then, but the equivalent like a Kmart or something would have things like this, whereas the other smaller mom and pop stores would usually have the more basic cheap stuff, maybe your first and second tier price point stuff, whereas the more expensive stuff or bigger bulkier stuff that just wouldn't fit in smaller mom and pop shops, which is a lot of things you got around New Zealand. So a lot of things we just didn't see. But actually, we had the warehouse, which was still around now. That came along, became probably the biggest seller for like late 90s into 2000 toy lines, because that started having bloody had like Toy Biz Wrestlers. It had Spawn. McFarlane was briefly in retail stores and not just the direct market for a few years. And
this represented the third place that I got as a kid. So now we're in 93. And the reason why I didn't have much Jurassic Park Wave 1, because this was the year I got primarily all or almost all of my Joe stuff. I got a playset, I got a couple vehicles. My birthday is right next to Christmas. So it's like, boom, boom. Here's all the stuff you're going to get for the next like 11 months. But the electronic playset is awesome. I loved it. It was very compact because those sides could fold in. And then you'd have that tower in the middle, which parts of it could pop off, but it was a really neat playset. It was all about being like a fort. Everything was forward facing, all the guns and everything. And what I appreciate about it is it had battle damage. So like if you hit that middle silver part with the G.I. Joe logo on the tower, it would pop off that roof of that tower. And then in some other places, you'll see like the gun on the very left. There's a red panel in front of it. And the gun itself the end of the gun is like a missile feature. So it fits into a spring. And when you hit that panel, the gun flies off. The same with the door for the jail that Cobra Commander is breaking out of. You hit the barrel and it shoots a missile, which is the door, so that Cobra Commander can escape. So it really felt like weak point. Action was happening at your playset. It wasn't static.
I can see a critical flaw in this playset. There's a red barrel quite prominently there. If I happen to shoot that, I have a feeling the whole thing might explode like in a video game at the end of it.
And then that ridiculous Gatling gun feature, yes, which did work. It rapidly shot a whole bunch of missiles out.
Does it look quite big on the picture? Does that looks like the size of like a cap gun sort of barrel thing? Like,
yeah, it is a chunky piece, and you can pull it out of its base, and just walk around with it and go tick, click, click. On the very back of it, there's a red piece, and you just twist it, and it fires them all.
That's before the Joes kind of went very, because me and Johnny wouldn't be the biggest. We wouldn't be the most knowledgeable when it comes to Joes, but is this before the Joes went all crazy neon colors and
this was the height of it. So the playset came out in 92. Most of my Joes were 93. So I think I got this right at the end of 92, and then throughout 93 I got the vehicles and more of the figures. But this was the time of Battle Corps, of Ninja Force, going forward from 92 into 93. So it was all the crazy colors, all the silly stuff.
Gosh, I love it.
I love that print ad, that rat-tat-tat-tat, even though it's firing missiles.
5 electronic battle sounds and an alarm.
What were the sound effects I hated that alarm. It was loud. There is a switch so you can turn it off, because if you hit that silver panel, because you'll see the silver panel and then that orange piece holding up the roof, the silver panel would push that orange piece off so the roof would collapse. But if you had the sound on, it would go just super loud, and I hated it as a kid.
I have
But
to wonder
everything
if
else
the
about
Where
box,
are you,
was awesome.
wonder if the
where
box
were you at,
exaggerating,
like,
but holds 50 figures. I'm thinking, like, does it? It seems like they've exaggerated saying 50.
And it goes back a
Cram them
ways
in.
too. There's a part in the back that keeps extending, so you don't see all of the playset.
Right.
what was it like though at the time? Like, did you have many Joes already by the time this playset kind of
I had a
arrived,
couple.
or
Yeah, I just had a couple when I got the playset because it's a big thing. It was that year's Christmas present. And then over 93, I would get a bunch more Joes. And then the vehicles, I had the X-16's Ghost Striker, so the F-16 Falcon, which was cool because it had like a handle underneath it, and then you'd put in batteries, and it would have like a light up. What do you call it? It would light up a silhouette of an enemy, like it would reflect on a wall, so you'd have something to shoot at. And I also got the Mudbuster vehicle and that silly little manta ray inflatable boat that I loved. But this is what started it. I think at the time I maybe had 2 or 3 Joes when I got it for Christmas. And then over the year it filled up.
I think that's a good way to have it, because if you already had too many, you're like, oh, where am I going to put them? Whereas if you got a couple, you kind of add one in. It kind of adds to the play value, I think, if you don't have too many to start with.
Yeah, and I can see a few of the Joes that I had, because you up in the top right on the tower, I can see Fisherman Bazooka's hat. And I had
I could see this being pretty versatile for like playing like with, say, dinosaur toys and stuff like that, for just being a generic base for anything that's not G.I. Joe related.
Yeah, because
you can
sometimes
happily put that next to your Jurassic Park playset stuff too, like buildings and whatnot.
Oh, I remember when I finally I got 1 or 2 Terminator toys, and this is where humanity would fall back to when the Terminators were invading. And I would have to do that stupid kid thing where a Terminator would get knocked down, and then I'd have to pretend a different one is now moving in, because you only have 1 or 2 Terminators. But this was the site of a lot of like last ditch battles. This was Helm's Deep, essentially.
Nice.
That artwork is so cool. Just that iconic like red, yellow, white explosion silhouette to highlight everything in the middle.
Yeah, when they've started doing those modern 6-inch figures, the decision not to have the cool retro art style was a bad decision. They finally flip-flopped on it a couple of years in and started using more of the vintage style card backs on there.
Going back in time. So now we're in 89, 90?
Yeah, around there. It was the first 2-3 years of the line. Remember, they had the Technodrome sewer set and the mutant module and that. All of which they've reissued in the last 2 years.
Did either of you have it?
I didn't. Did you have it, Johnny?
I didn't. I should have had it a week ago, the reissue. I'm still waiting on it now. It's been delayed in the mail.
I do find
I
it funny that, like,
it.
I consider myself having an okay amount of stuff as a kid, but I was still in a rural town. But we still had greater access to this stuff than like the rest of the world. But I had a Toys R Us in the city, so I was able to get a lot of this. But for me, Turtles there was nothing to compete with it from like 89 to like 92, I think. So every year it was just more Turtle stuff. So I had the Turtle van, I had the Foot Cruiser. I didn't get the Technodrome, but I did have this playset. And this was the one time, typically my parents didn't like pre-assemble anything for me at Christmas, but this was the one time they took it out of the box and assembled it and put the Turtles on it. So that Christmas morning I woke up and saw it and was like right away was able to play with it.
That's awesome. And the Turtles, were they like Turtles that you already had as a kid, and they just like, displayed them for you, so when you opened it up, or so when you got up on Christmas Day, they were just sitting ready for you?
I had the Turtles, the 4 Turtles, It was a few extra figures that they got for me. So I think Splinter.
Cool.
I forget who else they had put on there, but it was ones I didn't have already. Some of the
awesome.
the other figures.
This eBay image here, Splinter's wearing Raphael's belt for some reason.
Is this the remake? Because some of those figures
No,
look...
it's the vintage one. It's just a picture off eBay. Just people have mixed up bits when they put it in.
Those are the wacky action Rocksteady and Bebop and
that's
the weird faces.
So surprisingly, when you look at this with a critical eye, the playset doesn't have a lot of play value.
No, it doesn't do
like
much.
The street scenes the street part is too condensed. You can't do much. There's very little room on the inside, and you have to get down really low as a kid to like be able to play with it, unless it was up on the kitchen table. The turtles couldn't fit a lot of times in those tunnels, in those pipes. They could if you like put them head first, but they couldn't walk through them. So it was, critically as an adult, it's like, that shouldn't have been a fun playset, but I think every kid was just ready for Turtle Mania.
It feels like it should have been double the size and interior for just a hollow shell, you know?
Yeah, maybe not have the two rooms, but just have one solid piece.
Yeah,
and then not have that facade.
More space inside it.
Yeah, there's that facade in the front
or something
that kind of limits how you're able to get your hands in there.
They've done better. I've got several of the other later playsets from the other toy lines, which they did big, crazy vertical towers that are like 3-tier shelves almost compared to the stuff. And most of them, they incorporated the play features much better for actual child-sized hands and kids. That they've reused green sewer pipes and made them quite a bit larger, and they've made slides, so you put him on the top and he comes sliding out the bottom. And
yeah, you'll have to tell us, Johnny, when you get the remake, did they shrink it like they did with the new Technodrome?
As far as I know, they didn't, because I remember the backlash last year about that, people getting pissed off about it. I've never had a Technodrome. I mean, I've got one boxed out the back, the rear issue, but I haven't opened it. But I never had it as a kid to really complain about it. But I can understand why it was annoying, because they didn't tell anyone. If they told people, some people would have gone, well, why am I paying this much for it then if you shrunk it, made it that much smaller? Because of that backlash, they did say at the beginning of this year that this one supposedly not shrunk, or at least the sewer pipe piece definitely does connect properly to the Technodrome. Because that was my first thought. I thought, are they going to shrink this one as well? Because the figures barely fit in here, Masters of the Universe style. And if they shrunk it, they won't fit in there at all. They'll just be sleeping. They won't be able to stand up at all.
Yeah, it would be too difficult to do anything with it.
Yeah.
You keep it exclusively for your turtles, or did you ever mix it in with any of your other figures for just general, location play or street play if they were up top? Or
I think, I don't quite recall, because by the time I got any other toys, it had been a few years. Because if this was, let's just say 90, I'm guessing, the next time I got a playset was like 92 when I got the Blackbird. But it really wasn't a playset. But it's like a few years go by, you start to lose pieces break off, because it's a toy. Kids are going to play rough with it. I think really it was just a shell of itself by the time I had other toy lines that I could incorporate with it. So the Turtles used it often, kind of. But once I got the Turtle Van and the Foot Cruiser, we were off on adventures. So it was a good, solid playset for like 1 to 2 years. And then it kind of fell out of the way and stayed in the toy box. And then once I got other stuff later down the line, the Wayne Manor playset, it was so much taller and more open that I was able to incorporate more play value out of it.
Yeah, that feels like something they definitely rectified in other Turtles playsets, as they made much wider, taller, open ones, and ones, well, more like the Ken of Batman stuff. They had more concertina parts and flippy around bits, and they did in other lines.
Speaking of,
Micro.
Is there enough room in it? Let's go back to Micro. This is Playmates again. I mean, always Playmates with Turtles.
It's got a similar texture on them.
I just love that dumb face.
He looks depressed.
But geez, these are again action fleet scale. Like there is movement in the arms and legs, so they're. I put them away, but they're about an inch or so. They did have weapons. Good luck if you're ever going to find those today.
These micro-scale figures, or when I looked on eBay, the ones that are on there versus ones that are never on there, all of them, every single one of them costs more than the full-size figures. So obviously, I guess they didn't make as many, or they got lost, or they didn't sell as well, because the prices are just crazy high on them.
Yeah, I got lucky because this playset is complete, but it didn't come with a box or anything. But the turtles were inside those little dungeons when I opened it. I'm not sure if the seller knew that or if they just don't know the micro scale market. Because I was surprised when I opened it.
For more than the playsets itself, which is nuts.
Yeah, I was surprised when I opened and found 2 turtles. I was like, geez, this is a good deal. But this is a medieval castle, so you can tell this was probably coming out around the time of Turtles 3.
Yeah.
I remember.
I just noticed they got the flat feet on the. They did just shrink down the basic buckle figures, but they got those updated flat feet on the micro figures, so they can actually stand up.
The one that I really loved, I don't have an image of it. It was Toka. Wait, which one was the snapping turtle? That was Toka.
Yeah, Toka.
Toka opened up into the Technodrome, I think.
Yeah, and then they did a silver or either gold or silver metallic version as well. Was in the other catalog.
Yeah, that's right. There were a bunch of these, a couple of different years worth of them. And then now we're moving 93, 94, so we're moving into Power Rangers. Is that right? Yeah.
That'll be right, yeah. I remember seeing these in the shops, these morphing play sets or these morphing micro play sets.
They were weird because they didn't really represent anything when you open them up. Like the White Ranger that I had, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like there's pieces of broken column, like you're in an ancient ruin. But then all this techno stuff, and it's just like I don't know what this is supposed to represent. Like I get with the Pink Ranger, that volcano, that's where her pterosaur comes flying out of.
So you get like a good guy and a bad guy figure, I'm assuming, and a little Zord with each set.
Yep, you can see on the Pink Rangers, there's the red pterosaur in the next to the helipad, which I don't remember there being a helipad for the Zord, but sure. But I think they were neat because if a kid wanted to role play, these were like perfect examples of role play items for kids.
I suppose like Power Rangers is the type of thing where it's like, the monster of the week, the adventure of the week anyway. So you can kind of get away with not having to have it in any like, specific recognizable location from the show. Like,
Yeah.
There's a few things going on though with that White Ranger, apart from like the Egyptian stuff. There's like a little monitor or some type of computer station going on. There's a mirror.
Yeah, that computer station, I think all of these playsets came with one of those because the idea is you're supposed to be able to join them up.
Yes.
Oh, like bloody the Transformer ones on that.
Yes, the Micromasters, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Micro Machines, but Micromasters always mix up the words.
We'll have to get Jesse into Micromasters someday, expand his micro experience.
Yeah, we'll get to the catalog eventually on those, but I will source some images of the actual the Micromaster sets where they're connected up together. Like you can join, if you've got like 50 of them, you can make like a whole little miniature city of them.
Yeah. And those Power Rangers were again action fleet scale, so a little over an inch, around an inch. So they again arms and legs did move. There's a lot of stuff that scale that I found out later, other than my Star Wars stuff. GALOOB did a ton of the Micro Machines for Power Rangers, so that you could mix and match the Zords at least. Though the actual Micro Machine figures were much smaller than those play sets that we just saw. And then I didn't know Independence Day did these until I was a collector, and then
Neither did I. I only saw like the figure line and that, and I haven't seen these.
Yeah, it's cool. It's like a little bust of the alien skull, and you can open it up, and there's New York City. And then you get the mothership, which you can see on the top. There's a button, and it has these little balls that you put inside, and when you push the button, the balls fall down. So it's like, it's shooting missiles.
I see. I was wondering. So, is everything in this picture? This all comes as part of the one set.
Yeah,
That's
this
pretty
all comes
cool.
together. And the buildings are very soft rubber, so you can easily knock them down, put them back up. They won't break, they won't shatter. And then you pull the buildings up, lay them flat, put all the accessories in them, and then just close it up. Except for the mothership won't fit, but I thought it was neat. They did a lot for that line because they had vehicles, they had Kenner style figures, or not Kenner, Kenner style figures. And then I guess they decided, and this was Trendmasters, so I guess in retrospect that makes sense because Trendmasters was doing a lot of micro stuff that we'll see coming up.
I think this guy wants to have a go in your playset.
Perfect scale for him.
Legozilla.
It's a nice complete little set, like for just if you did enjoy the film and wanted, like, because you've got your bad guy fighter and your good guy jet and stuff, like, you know, got everything you need for your little self-contained Independence Day adventure.
Yeah,
you can really
the alien head
goes, "Welcome to Earth," and punches the alien in the ship.
Yes.
Again, looking at it from an adult critical eye, the sides of that playset were very tall. So, like, it would be very hard to do anything interior other than knocking the buildings over. Also, it's a little odd that you have the World Trade Center, but we see that a couple of times in these playsets. But if you tried to put tanks or Micro Machine figures inside, you'd have to, like, up straight down into it just because of those high side walls. I kind of wish that the alien head had more of that side to it when you pulled it off and you left more of a flatter piece.
Or if they had like hinges and that just folded down, that would allow you flatter surface to.
Yeah, because we see that with the Power Rangers set and a few others, but and if you don't want to expend the money and design, you could just put the sides on that headpiece and lift that up as a bigger chunk. But it's still kind of a fun playset.
Yeah, it's nice design anyway.
Yeah. I forget who has that right now. I didn't keep all of these. I know Tarzan went to Bill, Weird Fantastic Toy Adventures. Because I was offloading some of these.
Is this the Tarzan one?
Yeah, this is Tarzan. There were 3 in total. But this one is fun. This is like not the Temple of Doom, but like the Temple of Doom. But it came with Tarzan, came with Jane, came with the elephant and a panther, and then the wild men. Or
that's a lot of figures.
Yeah. Yeah, they came with a lot of figures and accessories. I'm trying to remember what was unique about this set. I think there was I think underneath that throne there was a place where a figure could fall into, but I could be misremembering. But this is again Trendmasters. So the same people that did Independence Day.
It's really nice. I was admiring it might be like stickers at the back. They're like bones or something in a cavern. It's very nicely painted.
Yeah, just like how they did with Independence Day, they did 5-inch figures and vehicles, and then the playsets. They were all Trendmasters was also doing Tarzan. I think it was the New Adventures. I think, but they also had like Motu style. Like they weren't. I don't remember if they moved or only if their arms moved, but they did have action figures for Tarzan, and then they did the small playsets to go along with it.
It was like a cartoon series, was it? That New Adventures or Tarzan, the new Tarzan show at the time.
The pain in the butt was you can fit all the figures into the playset to close it up, but you have to Tetris the heck out of it.
Well, at least you can do it, because I'm guessing with the Independence Day one, you can only get the 2 little fighters in and then close it up. You can't do anything with the mothership. It's just kind of sitting out there. So
Yeah,
at
but
least
it's nice because you get like a whole bunch of good guys, animals, and then you get like a whole team of bad guys. And as I said, there were, I think, 3 in total of micro play sets.
in terms of size, would it be? This looks like not too far off the size of one of those like micro machine head play sets.
Yeah, this is
this
is micro machine sized. The Kenner the Kenner's microverse is similar to this as well, where figures are not movable. They're all micro machine size. The sets are about similar in height, and there's an image coming up that will show them all next to each other.
Very impressive.
Mighty Max one here.
Every kid, or most boys, some girls, but a lot of kids in the 90s know Mighty Max, even if you never watched the show.
Yeah, I saw the cartoon. The advertisements are all over the place. Advertised it really heavily.
Yeah, and it was a weird story with it because Bluebird is a UK company, and they made Mighty Max. They also did Polly Pocket, and they worked with Mattel for Mattel to distribute it in the United States. I don't know how it was in the UK or in Europe and Australia, but at least in the US market, Mattel had to distribute it. And that was good for Bluebird because it saved them a lot of money and a lot of logistics. But when they were struggling and some companies were interested in them, Mattel was like, oh, no, heck no, we're buying them. They bought them up, and then they closed down the UK operations immediately because they're a bunch of jerks. But yeah, Mighty Max
did Mattel do Polly Pocket then for the state distribution as well? That makes sense.
Yeah, and my sister had Polly Pocket. I'm trying to remember if I might have had one Mighty Max playset. Because again, I didn't watch the cartoon, but the commercials were on all the time.
The cartoon was not great, but the toy sets were really good.
But this one is neat. It folds up to just look like a snake coiled up, like a rattler that you'd find out when you're out hiking. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, just a really unhappy snake folded up. And then you just lift up the neck, and then you lift up the other half, and you get this Egyptian mummy temple.
I like when you see, a collection of Mighty Max play sets together when they're all closed up and they kind of have that uniform with the double M logo and stuff. I always dreamt of owning a few of them as a kid. I did pick up some of the small ones. They would have more of a kind of a budget range where it would just be a very small set with like one figure. They were like the heads were only about that size. They were very small compared to those more kind of mid-sized ones like that Rattlesnake. And then there was like the big play sets like the Dragon's Head and stuff like that my friends had. They just looked awesome. Nice comparison though here of the various kind of sizes of these sets closed up together.
Yeah, they all do sort of fit a uniform size, even though you've got Kenner, Trendmasters, Bandai. I forgot who did Pokemon. Totally escaping right now.
Tomy did the minifigures. I don't know playsets. So.
Yeah, I think it was Tomy. Like nothing on here is even GALOOB. This is sort of my GALOOB has its own shelf. Or not shelf, it has its own like full shelf, and this is just one shelf out of many for everything else. I tried to squeeze in more, but I was running out of room.
We can see the
I don't know much about Pokemon. What's the deal with the Pokemon? It looks very plain compared to some of the other play sets.
Is it meant to be like the Pokedex or something? Because it's a funny shape.
No, they just. I don't think
missed
so,
it.
but they all look like that. Where they have
Yeah.
that same look, just different colors. But then inside, it's a different location. So like this is Seafoam Island from one of the later not later series, but early series. And you get little pokey dudes. So I have a Squirtle, I have a Poliwhirl.
I've seen a modern version like this in the last couple of years. It's a lot bigger, but it's still for these same original minifigures, and it folds out quite big. But it's the same basic idea as this.
And the figures are plastic, but it's a soft plastic. Like you can just feel how softer they are in your hand. They're not going to shatter or chip. The only thing is like the paint might rub off over time. But it's a solid playset. Like,
actually, I can go like this. See, there's the dude I actually bought in 1998.
Oh yeah, he just looks just like him. There is one of these that is a gym, but these are pricey. I got this one cheap, and I was very happy that it came with anything inside it, and I got 2 little Pokemon in it, including Poliwhirl, because I love the Polys. They're my favorite water type.
I'd say they're pretty rare these days just to come across in complete condition, never mind good condition. Yeah.
Poliwhirl, Poliwrath. Oh, I think in this set it's Poliwrath. Wait, which one? Poliwhirl, Poliwrath. It's the middle evolution. I forget. Yeah, that's the 3rd evolution or the 2nd evolution. I have the one in this place.
I've only got 2 hands. I haven't got 3 hands for 3 evolutions.
That's fine. Yeah, that's him.
There we go. He looks like that. You probably wouldn't know, but there was a British claymation thing called Trapdoor. He looks like this little burnt blue guy.
God, now I have memories of going back and playing Pokemon Crystal.
And your Game Boy?
My Crystal turned out to be a bootleg off bloody eBay, and I didn't know, and that's why it didn't work.
Oh, that sucks. I was blown away. I played my friend's Red, which is just Kanto.
Yeah.
When I got Crystal and I was in Juneau, it was like, oh, cool. I'm playing in the other continent. This is really fun. And then you get to the end and they're like, okay, hop on the train. And you're like, what do you mean? And then suddenly you're back in Kanto and it's like, I get to do this again.
Yeah.
This is the best game ever. Wow. I just realized how dirty that Godzilla head is. I've cleaned these up since I've taken these pictures.
Yeah. When you get those small grooves, you got to get like the little Q-tips and a bit of water and gently work at it while you watch TV or something. It takes forever to get it out.
Yeah. And so now we're in
stuff off eBay where someone hasn't, where it's been sitting, something's been sitting for more than 10 years worth of stuff in it.
So keeping with Trendmasters, so we just saw Trendmasters handle Independence Day and Tarzan, and now Godzilla. This is 94, King of the Monsters. It's the first line where it's like the green Godzilla head roaring on all the artwork. But they did, this was such an eclectic toy line, because this is where they had like the 12-inch figures with the electronics. They had the 6-inch monsters. They had the egg monsters that pop out of the eggs. They had Godzilla Force, the little humans with the weapons. And then they did play sets. And there were 3 in total for this first wave for King of the Monsters. They did more play sets later for the other years. But this is the one I had as a kid. And it is the LA playset featuring Mechagodzilla. And at the back of it, you see a helipad. But it's not a helipad. It's actually where Mechagodzilla, you can lower it down and then have it rise up all epic like he's about to fight Godzilla. And then you have the city of LA. All the building stuff is currently off of it because I didn't have a complete one at this time when I took this original picture. Now I have a complete one, or almost complete. I'm missing one building. But there was this with Mechagodzilla. There was San Francisco with Rodan. Oh no, sorry, San Francisco with King Ghidorah, and then New York with Rodan. And I have all three of them, and they're all complete except for one building, which is an epic achievement because you can find these for like $20 on eBay, but just a head with like no buildings in it. You want a complete one, mint on card, because these were sold on big cards. You're looking at like $200 to $300. And the buildings, because people want loose buildings, a loose building will be like $20-$30 because it's so easy to lose these pieces over time. But what's nice is the insides are hollow, so when you open up that mountain that they're sitting on, there's a hinge it swivels open. You can grab it with your finger and lift it up, and the whole platform lifts up, and all your stuff fits inside, and then you can close it back down. So everything conveniently stays inside. But I just love how cute that guy is. Just that little mischievous.
It is really nice. I love the kind of translucent red plastic eyes on it as well. So it looks nice with like a light shining against it.
Yeah.
It's very Transformers with that that eye they used to do. Those a lot.
They all on the exterior, they all look the same for those three. I think in the following year, they change up the color a little bit, where I think some are darker, and then there is a Space Godzilla head. And I think there was a Mecha Godzilla in one of the later years, but I didn't collect any of that. And these things are like Micro Machine size. They're tiny little figures. Very easy to lose.
Oh, got nice detail though, like a nice little sculpt. I can see the paint on the spines of Godzilla and stuff. Like it's quite detailed. Always kind of surprised at the detail at this micro scale.
Yeah, Trendmasters was very, very high quality for the work that they did. And I know that they kept doing it because Trendmasters kept the license through Godzilla to 1999, the American Godzilla.
When you're like growing up, are you seeing much Godzilla stuff on TV, or are you just picking this stuff up because you just think it looks cool? Or
I grew up on Godzilla. It has nothing to do with anything today. It's about history and my nostalgia for it and my love for classic Godzilla stuff. Not just classic, like even the Heisei era. Like I just love all that Godzilla.
Definitely looks way more polished up in this picture we're looking at now. You definitely had the toothbrush out.
I think I took that picture when I first got it because I was just excited to have it again. But I had to get I had to get two of the LA ones to have a complete one. Just because it's so hard. It's easier to find the shell with a few pieces and then try to find the shell with the other pieces that are missing and combine them than it is to like go and get a complete set. And then I just sold the second shell to make a little bit of money back.
And if you're curious about are they is it American sellers that you're getting these from, or are you having to go to Europe to find them?
It's all American. Yeah, the difficult thing with Godzilla, and I think if you ask Goji, he'll probably give you a good a good confirmation of this. Godzilla, like most 90s toys, are not hard to find. At least in the United States. I don't know about elsewhere, but if we're talking Power of the Forest, Jurassic Park, 90s G.I. Joes, it's cheap, it's plentiful, it's not hard to find at all. You touch Godzilla, that is a market of collectors who goes back to the 80s, the 70s, people collecting that kind of merchandise for Godzilla. So there were adults in the 90s buying up Godzilla stuff. And then when I become an adult from the 90s, kids in the 90s, now I'm an adult today, there are still adults going out and collecting Godzilla stuff. So it's hard to find a lot of good Godzilla stuff from the 90s in good condition for good prices, because you're not just competing with people who were kids with you in the 90s. you're competing with everyone who just loves Godzilla in general.
Those legacy brands, they can kick your ass when you're a collector, you know?
Yeah.
You're still a blow-in to the fandom in their eyes, you know?
Oh, you 30-something whippersnapper, get away from my Godzilla collectibles. It's like, no, but that was my toy.
So watching some videos from like Phil over in Japan on some of his toy hunts, and like he just like goes past all these different stores and it's just like Godzilla. Just wherever he goes, Godzilla. So many crazy amounts of products now.
So I won't spend too much time on this because we talked about all this on the GALOOB talk, but obviously GALOOB went nuts with the mini play sets. And with the Micro Machine stuff, the highways and byways, there's a million of those. But then they got the Star Wars license, and they're like, "Oh, cool! All the ideas are written for us. We just have to make the play sets." The two at the bottom, the Hoth and the Endor, were the two that I had as a kid, or not these specifically, but these represent the ones I had as a kid.
I had the Vader. I still have that Vader head, even though it's missing all of its pieces. It's just I always loved it. I think we spoke about this on when we did the GALOOB show as well. The box art on these is absolutely beautiful.
It's perfect.
At the time, I believe I even mentioned I especially appreciate the Death Star one because it doesn't try and like fool you as to what the playset kind of looks like and is. It doesn't just show you like an image of the Death Star from the movie or whatever. I like that you can kind of see the play features painted on and the actual full shape of it and stuff. It's very cool.
Yeah,
Lego
they don't hide.
those.
Even in the lower corner, you'll see like the actual toy itself. Like they don't try to hide what it is. Their artwork is there to hype you up to play with the toy.
Yeah,
and it's like they do a really good job with it. And my latest acquisition is this beautiful Rebel transport.
Oh wow!
Which opens up into a playset.
Nice.
This is probably one of the most expensive pieces and hardest to find pieces. But if you're really patient, you'll find someone who doesn't know what they're selling, and you can snap it up.
That's when you find a listing that just says Star Wars toy or Star Wars ship.
Yeah.
The best type of listings.
These were great. They didn't take up space. You could store up like 10 of them in a small box. It was just so easy. And they're cheap today. Like $20, and you can get most of these mint unopened.
That's cool that they're still so widely available. I'd almost be tempted, even just for some of the box art alone, just to kind of have sitting out. Dare I jump into the micro scale at this point of my collecting journey, though? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I got the Darth Vader head last year, mint in box for like $25.
Wow, bargain. I do remember looking at the Andor and hot
early
sets.
90s or later 90s when they had the movies out to get in the cinema and that. And
yeah, some of these came out along with the movies in 97. Because I remember coming out of Empire, and it's across the
very OG Trek before it went into all that, all the big steroid ones and episode 1 of that we got at the end of the decade.
Oh, I think that was 95 when they were doing that original Power of the Force. 94, right. 95?
Oh, was that early? Jeez. But that ran for a while, didn't it? Because I saw that for years in stores. It was just like flooded the stores of stuff. And then when that flood finally ended, I mean, there was heaps of that. Power of the Force, Ken of Batman was still around. Like, it was still, years later, it was still on the shelves. And then all of a sudden, all the episode 1 stuff. And that was just like, those 3 lines just clogged up like everything.
Really well designed, though, these sets, I have to say. They're just very well thought out and imaginative. Just like top tier. They were like a little mini event, each one. I'm probably putting it over more so than I should, just because it's Star Wars and I get excited looking at old Star Wars stuff, but they really are just,
really good color contrast and the way they've done them too. I mean, I know it's based on the actual thing, but the way they've actually define, like whether it's plastic paint, whatever. It really pops out compared to some of the sets.
Yeah, they're just beautiful looking sets in general. And whether you have those kind of open ones, the ones that just don't like change anything, or the ones that are like the heads, like when you see a few of the heads and the helmets lined up together, they look really nice on a shelf as well. Oh, they were top notch. Yeah, I definitely I can relate to playing with these as a youngster. I love this stuff.
Well, they look to me as good as like watching like Thunderbirds and good model making. You know, like proper dioramas where people do stuff by hand and spray paint things and glue bits of sand on bases and stuff like that. And
Biggies here,
and then
big boys.
Yeah, moving up in scale, same time frame. You know, this is like 95, 96 Action Fleet.
Hook's back again from Jurassic Park.
Yeah. Okay. So Action Fleet, yeah, now we're back to like the 1-inch figures with some posability. The bigger vehicles that they could fit into. And the Hoth playset was the first one I got, and I love it. But I think the Yavin playset had way more play value to it. Just more features, more movable parts, more guns on the front, so you can have more action.
Yeah, probably the Yavin set nearly, because when you see the original, especially the original version of Star Wars, like Yavin, it's just you just really get to see the temple briefly, and you get to see like X-wings taking off and stuff. I think they definitely in a positive way, they took some good artistic license and made it an actual good poetic type of scene that you could actually have, you know, scenarios unfold, and it's not just like, you know, a hangar essentially. There's actually a lot of stuff going on there. I will admire them for that, for like coming up with like good ways to use this and like utilize these spaces like that you don't really get to see much of in the movies.
I don't have the Death Star playset picture, but there was a third one of the Death Star 2, the second Death Star, but it opens out the same way as the Wayne Manor, where it's like 3 parts spread out, and then it all folds like, and then the base folds out towards you, so it's all one big frame coming towards you, so it's not two-sided.
You know, at the moment, currently in like the Lego community, there's a lot of people complaining about the Lego Death Star, the €1,000 Lego Death Star that's just like a slice, and you know, guys are defending it, saying, "Oh, well, you know, you either has to be flat so you can show all these scenes, or you can make it a sphere and lose all that." But you know,
Or
Micro Machines and Action Fleet, you know, they seem to be able to manage these things, you know, on balance.
You could drop $60 and get a mint in box Death Star Action Fleet. Comes with Vader's tie and the Emperor and all that stuff.
Reenact a few scenes, you know. The job can work as like an outside model if you want to just have it sitting there, or you can open.
If anyone doesn't think it's big enough at micro scale, it's like just hang it at the right place in the room, use the force perspective, and it'll work perfectly.
Yeah. Well, if you watch the Micro Machine talk that I had with Shabby Geek and Adam, Real Toy Dude, he has the other Death Star playset, which is Micro Machine sized, but it's a full round Death Star. It's the double takes, so it looks like one thing, and you grab at the top, and it folds open into this big, long Tatooine desert playset.
That's cool.
But you could fold it back up and just have a round Death Star sitting off in the corner of your bedroom.
Yeah, some of those sets were cool, where it's like 2 totally different settings depending on what way you want to have the set open.
And this is the configuration I had with them. I just took off the corner of the Yavin playset because that's just a storage piece. You just take it off, and then I just slap them together, and that was my Rebel base. I didn't care that the colors were different. I was a kid. Why should I? I just pretended that it was all one base.
Yeah. Why not? Like, you know, it's your world. You can do whatever you like. That's the beauty of it, and the mixing and matching of the lines, and just, you know, making it work for whatever the play scenario is.
I've got 2 Castle Grayskulls. I'm thinking about getting them kind of out and either opposite together or out straight up like in a line, but like to jam them together like this, basically to make a extended space.
Yes.
GALOOB headquarters. Something familiar about this picture.
It must be a Tuesday.
And when we say familiar, I mean they literally all the figures are in the same poses as the Joes. They just traced over Street Fighter figures to replace the Joes.
Yeah, I'll wind back to it for a minute so we can have a quick comparison. There we are. There was the Joe one.
Yeah, so like Stalker in that running pose slightly to the right of the tower. Just when you go back to the other one, just keep that running pose in mind.
Okay, so we'll go back to here.
And you got Chun-Li in the exact same pose. Cobra Commander is now M. Bison.
That's a pretty good swap, at least. Cobra Commander and M. Bison.
It's very confusing, though, because this is Shadowloo headquarters. This is, of course, it says the official movie Fortress. Okay. Then why are all the Street Fighters defending from it?
Yeah, yes. Why are all the bad guys and the good guys all on the same team?
Like
maybe they've been brainwashed by Flash.
And Bison's escaping, and Sagat is like pointing to him, like, there he is, go get him.
I like the confusing. But they're all. It looks fun. I mean, you can see like Guile with the gun, or maybe Cammy because they're already supposed to be in the military. But then like Ryu, who's just still got like, bare fists and his karate gi, but the gun's just kind of floating there.
Branding is crazy. So you've got Street Fighter official movie Fortress, which would suggest that that's like the movie, the live action movie, Shadowloo and all that stuff.
Yeah, but it's the game.
We've also got the Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo or whatever that little logo is for the game. Then on that little the door that flies off where Bison is breaking out from, it just says Street Fighter 2, you know. All these different logos and
actually even
is it the game march? Is it movie march?
If you look at Street Fighter at the top, that's not the proper. It's more like the Street Fighter 1 font.
Yeah, the Street Fighter 1 logo. Yeah, it's wild.
I mean, and this is also the time where they probably. Oh, when did they do the animated series? Was that before the movie or after the movie?
I think it was after the movie. It was after the 1994 movie.
Because I was going to say if it was during the time of the cartoon, they could have just made this the Street Fighter base.
Yeah. Is this missing some of the features of the other one, or have they swapped out anything to even make it different? It's the exact same carbon copy.
Everything looks the same. The same missile firing turrets, the same panels that would fly off the barrel above the prison, but now it's gray or silver instead of red. Like everything is still there that I can tell.
I had
imagine getting a boxed example of this is expensive.
You can get a boxed one for about $200 to $300, probably closer to $300. So like it's a lot of money, but if you're a collector looking for something very niche, $200 to $300 isn't necessarily the worst. So it's doable if you're looking for Street Fighter or for G.I. Joe type of stuff, and you've gotten all the other stuff in your collection.
Yeah, I'd imagine there's quite a lot of Joe enthusiasts that love the Street Fighter subline just because of the reuse and repainting of stuff they already have.
Yeah, I would just love a poster.
Cheaper secondhand stuff before now, when everyone's bought everything, that there'll be a point where it was less desirable. All these repaints, people would get them cheaper and that.
And what's funny is because I got the electronic one in '92, I did have 2 or 3 Street Fighter figures. So we're thinking 94 when this came out. I could have gotten this playset. I think I was moving on to other stuff, but I would just love a poster of just this artwork.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself.
The funny thing, I'm looking at the color scheme. If you just like swapped out M. Bison with Megatron, and it's like purple and grey, a lot of Decepticon toy color schemes.
I want to see the artists just keep doing this, where it's like okay, we did Street Fighter with this. Now let's do Master of the Universe and trace over all the Master of the Universe figures in those same poses.
But they have to have guns in their hands as well.
Yeah, the American style weapons, keep them. Don't touch those.
Yep.
Just have the figures. But I think I threw on some close-up images of some of the characters just for a good laugh. Because I think Ryu is still my favorite.
Yeah, Ryu was my favorite too. Let's go to him. He's just like the gun. That is not the way you should be gripping that gun and while jumping. While your other hand's going like this and you're yelling, and he's kind of twisting sideways as well. So it makes me think: did someone like add the gun in after the fact? Like it was just because it looks like just a generic picture of going like this, and then they've added the gun in.
But he just looks like he's gone to a blood rage. Like his hair is all.
He looks like he's going to Rambo because his face is like does not look like Ryu. And
you got Fei Long and Vega's pointing at things. Like, look at that.
Yeah, DJ's pointing. Vega's pointing. Fei Long is pointing. If we go back, Fei Long's like pointing almost like it tells him, like, hey, he hasn't got a gun. Why has he got no gun?
You got Balrog with a gun, just like, I'm a boxer, but I'm also a paramilitary specialist.
Blanca manning the turret, though, is just brilliant, you know?
He's very determined.
What is Dulcim doing?
He's just doing nothing. He's doing like a stretchy pose or something, but to nothing with no gun. And yeah, that's what he's doing.
It's like, hey, buddy, help. Oh, yeah, he's non-violent. Except he's in a Street Fighter tournament, so he's totally violent.
Yeah, and I bet his action figure comes with a load of guns, too. Yeah, somebody look wild.
Like, Cammy looks okay. I think she's the one that actually makes just pose sensibly and then Ken's got a sword and a sickle.
Because on the Joe on the Joe box art, there's one of the ninja figures. I don't know if it was Snake Eyes, but holding the sword and the scythe. Like the weapons are the same. They just traced over Ken. You got T-Hawk with some giant mortar gun device, and then I guess E Honda, maybe that's supposed to be Duke raising his fist like Gojo's.
I don't really have military figures, but I've done my best version I can do. It's a spear gun from the big Super 7 Man Ray. It's the best I can do on short notice.
Safest way to hold it. Yeah, I just love that they traced over the existing characters with the Street Fighter guys and just made it make no sense as well, which is the cherry on top.
They did a great job though. Like I love the artwork of the figures. You can tell exactly who they are. They're perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Kami is my favorite of what we see on the box art. I didn't even realize
like that Rapunzel
some
hair.
of these guys. Yeah, really long. Well, I suppose she has kind of long braids in the game, so that makes sense.
Yeah, she does have proper hair like that. I like that it's got the flag up the top, so at least the flag's got the proper logo of the skull with the lightning bolt in it.
Yeah, maybe the good Street Fighters have taken over Bison's lair, and for some reason, everybody's just decided to turn on Bison now.
I'd love to know, like, whenever they do these like crazy artworks, and it's a very popular American style, like the old Avengers or X-Men cover. They're all like, you're the audience. You're looking at the thing in the store, and they're running out at you. You never know who it is actually running out to get or what they're fighting, because it's always off panel or off camera. They don't know who they're going after.
You are the enemy.
Oh my god, what did I do? So I'm innocent. Why is there a Bison coming after me with that scoped rifle?
Well, he's escaping because that's the gel cell that blows out so Cobra Commander can escape. It was the Cam or the Chun-Li pose that made me realize they had traced over the original artwork, because she's running the exact same way that Stalker is running.
Yeah, and you never see Chun-Li running, or she wouldn't be doing big crazy long strides like that.
Yeah. And you got Guile. I recognize Guile's gun, that weird gun with it's not a scope, but a handle. Like a number of Joes had that. And then Sagat is still pissed off that Bison made fun of his eye. Like, oh, I bet you didn't see that.
thinking if he
Get
could
him.
be in the background, but his hands in the foreground. So he's shrunk. Why is he so? At least he's kneeling down. He's got really small.
And who knows what
Love it.
Zangief is doing? He's just like, he's just screaming internally because he doesn't know how to internalize anything that's happening.
But strangely, like him and Dawson just don't have a gun. It's like everyone gets a gun. Even like Sagat's got one hand he's holding something.
Wait, we're fighters? Wait, we're the bad guys?
Maybe he's gonna like bend the metal with his hands. Like
He's trying to shout at everyone like, no, we're bad guys, but we're not bad guys. Get it? I love this. This is so stupid. It's like
I like that. If you see it in an actual shop at a distance, you're just like, oh yeah, Street Fighter, cool action. You don't notice how wacky it is unless you really look up closer.
That missile flying right past Chun-Li just takes it to an 11.
And I didn't notice till Mark pointed out, but all the different bloody things about it's got Super Street Fighter there, but it's got like a Street Fighter 1 kind of logo over here, all the different logos and fonts and it.
And they wanted just to reel you in, no matter how your fandom of Street Fighter began or what you're into. They just needed you to look at this box and convince your parents to buy it for you, you know? Whether you saw the movie, played the game, who cares? Just buy it now.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, I forget who made which, but it was the other company because they had they did the Mortal Kombat on the Joe size buck figures as well. So if you wanted to get both lines,
yeah, you'd have scale there. No, it's.
I mean, this could be the Defend the Earth Realm playset.
Yeah.
The exclusive Bison figure as well, you know.
Yeah, they had that in a lot of those
player 2 colors.
They had a lot of those recolor ones you showed us in other previous shows, Badger, where they had the vehicle would come with like a recolor, like a different color blanker or different color, whatever.
Yeah, if you look at I think it was yesterday, Toy Connections just did a whole video on the G.I. Joe or the Hasbro Street Fighter toys, and yeah, the vehicles all had the player 2 colors. I never had the vehicles. I only had 3 figures, and that was it.
I didn't know until that previous talk.
Sonic Boom tank.
I didn't know that to a previous talk with Badger where there was like 3, like there was the main color, the recolor, and then the whole movie line. So that's 3 whole lots of color palettes just for this, like for the Street Fighter figures.
They're obviously banking on it doing well for them, given the popularity of the brand at the time.
Yeah, because I never saw the earliest ones in the stores. Actually, I had Dulls I bought years later, secondhand or whatever, or it might have been cheap on eBay, but it wasn't until after the 2000 I picked one up for like $10.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is, like, I loved E Honda. I had E Honda, I had Blanca, and then I had Chun-Li. And Chun-Li was frustrating because she was given the same body as the Ninja Force Scarlet, where it was this really thick waist, and then the legs were huge because it was that kick feature. But that means you couldn't move the legs at all. You would just go forward, and that was it. And it's like, what do you think of when you have Chun-Li? It's like her spinning kicks and everything else.
Yeah, I have that Chun-Li, or I had that Chun-Li figure, and once the spring goes, the figure becomes useless essentially.
Yeah, I modified it to, I took off parts of the body and put the arms and the head onto like a different female buck. Maybe it was a Lei J or something, just so I could have like a fighting Chun-Li.
Good idea.
And this is, actually, now I'm thinking about it, Cammy, T-Hawk. So now we're also talking about new challengers.
Yeah, that's
Fei Long is there as well.
Street Fighter game playing tips on there.
And DJ at the door. Yeah. So now you have Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter the new challengers.
Oh, they're getting in everybody. I wonder, are we actually missing anybody out of our lineup? I don't think so. I think
everyone is there.
Players are there.
Yeah, it's 16.
I mean, that's impressive that they were able to get
the only character who wouldn't be there because he was a secret was Goki or Akuma.
Yeah. But that means that I guess in the G.I. Joe box art, there were just enough figures to replace them with every single Street Fighter up through New Challenger. I'll have to double check unless Zangief, because Zangief just looks out of place. He's just holding the rails screaming, and it's like maybe he's the oddball that they had to draw in.
Yes, possibly him or Dalcium, maybe.
Yeah, Dalcium is like, I don't know what you're doing, buddy.
It's like, hey, the Joe's got all our guns. What do we do?
Like, guys, you gotta chill, man.
Yeah,
I think that's it then for all the pictures I gave you.
End of the thingamies.
It was fun times, though. I did enjoy this look back. Interesting look into Jesse's childhood as well. You had some really cool playsets as a kid, Jesse.
Yeah, I was not starving for stuff. I mean, most of it came at the end of the year, so it was all I had to play with for like the next 11 months. But it was still, the 90s had good stuff. Like most people, I think, in my circles, in our toy collecting circles, are 80s kids or had toys from the 80s. So you hear a lot of Motu and Mask and other, related properties. So I thought it would be nice to kind of talk about what happened later in the 90s era and what playsets were available then.
We're very pro 90s on this channel. I think it's fair to say.
Well, a lot of a lot of stuff crossed over. Turtles went from 80s into the 90s and other stuff, but like Toy Biz and all that ran for more than a decade at the smaller size before they jumped up to doing the 6-inch figures.
But I think like we appreciate what the 80s gave us, or gave our older siblings, or people who are older than us. Like we appreciate the Snake Mountains and all that
cartoon-based stuff in the 80s. In the 90s, there was more original properties where, like Earthworm Jim had a cartoon, but it was only created as a cross promotion with the video game and the toys.
Yeah, but it's just nice to kind of talk about what we played with and bring back our own memories. Because we had some good stuff in the 90s.
Oh, we had access to some great, like, and with so much choice as well. Like, because, like, we just looked at, some of your favorites today, but like, I'm sure there's people watching who've grown up at a similar time frame to us. Definitely let us know. I know we may have mentioned some in passing that were connected to the ones we looked at today, but let us know what you were playing with at this stage of your life as well, or do you still cherish? Do you still desire any of these? I know. I think I still desire that.
Did you
that
have
Lost World
Batman?
One? Very cool. Very cool. Had a great time. I hope everybody comes back next week. I'm not sure yet what our topic is for next week, but we'll decide between now and then. And
yeah, we got to pin it down. I've got a list of stuff that I'll like tomorrow, so I'm just going to show you my list, and you can pick because there's too many things.
We definitely have to get Jesse back in the near future because it's always a pleasure, and if we can get anybody else from our grind fam to come on and join us, and
get in Bison on the show, he can tell us what's really going on in this crazy scene.
We'll have to get him on a Tuesday. We'll have a good old chinwag with him.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for having me on again. It's always fun to have these nice, fun walks down memory lane.
Thank you for the tour of the Badger memories.
Yeah, thank you for the enthusiasm. Thank you for showing up, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Take care.
Yeah, we'll catch you guys next time.